McKinley, of course, was also the president on whose watch American imperialism really ramps up in terms of building an empire. And Trump spoke about putting a flag on Mars during his speech, which appealed, of course, to Elon Musk in the audience. Trump called it America's manifest destiny. Heather, why should we be concerned by that phrase?
We should be concerned about that phrase for a number of reasons. But one of the points that is important here is that William McKinley, in fact, is associated with imperialism, the late 19th century American imperialism that led to the American Navy ending up in places like the Philippines, for example. That's different than the whole idea of manifest destiny, which happens in the 1840s and the 1850s and is largely a period that, largely a concept that comes out of the American South. And that's the idea of empowering individual white men to take over lands and take over the property of their neighbors. And that is based not only on economics, the idea of spreading, they didn't call it capitalism at the time, but spreading a certain kind of trade economy. It's based in religion, the idea of spreading Protestantism instead of Catholicism into places like the regions where the Catholic Church had been very active. And of course, it's also predicated on race, the idea that white people should oversee the actions of people of color and of people of what they considered lesser religions. So that's going to be Mexicans and indigenous Americans, primarily in the American West. As late as the 1890s, the idea that you will see in places like Frederick Jackson Turner's frontier thesis that slavery was a blip. It really didn't matter because what really mattered was that people voted for it. People, again, being white men, voted for it. And that's a real upholding of American traditions. We forget that there's a long period of American history where people celebrated that as a triumph of democracy, not as a perversion of it. And that's what's inherent in Manifest Destiny. And while William McKinley is different than that, Trump obviously is picking up on those impulses, even though I suspect he would not make it through his master's comps to try and differentiate between those two things.